Remember that time I had said to y'all that every woman needs 3 books? A book for her mind, a book for her heart, and a book for her coochie? Remember I said that? Okay, these set of books is the ones for your mind. Hi friends, welcome back to Shelby in the Book Club. I am Shelby Monet, and we're going to talk about some of my most anticipated historical fiction releases of 2025. I talked about a few of them in the video that I did during Bookmas, but there are some more that are coming out that I did not mention. And I love historical fiction. I think historical fiction is an easy way for us to learn without it being boring. I think historical fiction humanizes our ancestors in ways that maybe we can't because we don't have particular stories and because they are constantly trying to erase our history. So if you like to hear it, here we go. Before we get started, all of these books will be linked down below in the underneath bar. It is called the underneath bar because it is underneath the video. And make sure you like, comment, and you subscribe. How am I supposed to know you liking the videos if you ain't talking to me, cousin? How am I supposed to know? All right, let's get into it for real this time. If you see me looking down, you know the routine already. I'm looking at my mini girl. She go where I go where she go. It is my iPad mini. I read on her, I take notes on her, I write on her, all that stuff. Okay, I ain't ignoring you, cousin. I'm just trying to get you right information. Now, all of book covers and release dates will be on the screen. And again, everything will be linked down below in the underneath bar if you would like to support my Amazon storefront. First up, we have a never before published novel by Zora Neale Hurston. This is actually going to be released on her birthday, her 134th birthday, which is totally amazing to me. This is the life of Herod the Great. So it says in the 1950s, as a continuation of Moses, Man of the Mountain, Zora Neale Hurston penned a historical novel about one of the most infamous figures in the Bible, Herod the Great. In Hurston's retelling, Herod is not the wicked ruler of the New Testament who is charged with the slaughter of the innocents, but a forerunner of Christ, a beloved king who enriched Jewish culture and brought prosperity and peace to Judea. From the peak triumph to the depths of human misery, this historical Herod appears to have been singled out and especially endowed to attract the lightning of fate, Hurston writes. An intimate of both Mark Antony and Julius Caesar, the Judean king lived during the 1st century BCE in a time of war and imperial expansion that was rife with political assassinations and bribery as the old world gave way to the new. I will say I did read somewhere that because this is never before published work, it wasn't finished, so they're saying that some things around the plot are missing, so keep that in mind if you're purchasing this. I am actually going to an event for it this week, so I'm super excited, and I will be reading and reviewing it for you soon. I do need to read Moses, Man of the Mountain, which I feel like I have a copy. I do, right here. So I need to read this first, and then I will get into the next one. So there is that. Next on the list, we have Zeal by Morgan Jerkins. Morgan Jerkins wrote Call Baby, which is one of my favorite books, something that I actually do want to reread this year, and this is her new work that comes out April 22nd, 2025. It says Harlem 2019. Ardella and Oliver are hosting their engagement party. As the guests get ready to leave, he hands her a love letter on yellowing, crumbling piece of paper. Natchez, 1865, discharged from the Union Army as a man after the war's end. As a free man after the war's end, Harrison returns to Mississippi to reunite with a woman he loves. Tirza? I don't know. Upon his arrival at the Freedom's Freedmen's Bureau, though, he catches the eye of a woman working there who's determined to thwart his efforts to find his beloved. After tragedy strikes, Harrison resigns himself to a life with her. Meanwhile, in Louisiana, the newly freed Tirza is teaching at a freedmen's school and discovers an advertisement in the local paper looking for her. Though she knows Harrison must have placed it and longs to find him, the risks of fleeing are too great, and Tirza chooses the life of seeming security right in front of her. Spanning over 150 years, Morgan Jerkins' extraordinary novel intertwines the stories of the star-crossed lovers and their descendants. As Tirza's family moves across the country during the Great Migration, they challenge authority with devastating consequences, while the legacy of heartbreak and loss continues on in the lives of Harrison's progeny. I love a saga. I love a saga, but I also love when a saga is told generationally, because I think we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. I think we are. And I think the things that they set into the soil for us dictate a lot of the things that are going on for us. And I love to see that long and drawn out in books. And Morgan writes her ass off. Do you hear me? Call Baby is so damn good, and I feel like when it came out, y'all wasn't appreciating it enough. Maybe I need to put Call Baby on the list of things we read this year on the side quest. That book was so darn good. Next we have This Here Is Love by Princess Joy L. Perry. First of all, get into this book cover. This comes out August 5th. That's my mama's birthday. It says 1690s, Tidewater, Virginia. Bless, born into slavery and taken by her masters to toil in the house, faces her mother's fury, learning that cruelty can come from any side. David, an enslaved child from a free father, dreams of the promise of liberty made to him. Jack, an impoverished Scots-Irish boy, sails to America to be indentured, but in the hellish crossing finds his hopes fracturing, yet somehow they all will stake a claim to love. Hurston Wright Award winner Princess Joy L. Perry tells us a previously unheard story, one in which characters must carve out choices from the narrowest of circumstances and confront heart-rending questions. How far would you go to protect your children from enslavement? How to create a lasting family after being torn from your own? What to value more, a hard-won opportunity or your humanity? This Here Is Love is an unforgettable story from an astounding new voice. I'm gonna be honest with you. It said Tidewater, Virginia, and that is near where my father's family is from, near where my father was born. So I have to have it. I just have to have it. Next, we have The Great Man by Kyra Davis Laurie. In 1945, Charlie Trammell steps off a cross-country train into the vibrant tapestry of Los Angeles, lured by his cousin Marguerite's invitation to the esteemed West Adam Heights. Charlie is immediately captivated by the black opulence of LA's newly rechristened Sugar Hill. Settling in at a local actress's energetic boarding house, Charlie discovers a different way of life, one brimming with opportunity, from a promising career at a black-owned insurance firm, the absence of Jim Crow, to the potential of an unforgettable romance. But nothing dazzles quite like the James Reaper Man. Reaper's extravagant parties, attended by luminaries like Lena Horne and Hattie McDaniel, draw Charlie in, bringing the milieu, that word fight back, of wealth. What word is that? Jesus? Search with the ghouls. Milieu. Say it with milieu. A person's social environment. Okay. All right. bringing the milieu of wealth and excess within his reach. But as Charlie's unusual bond with Reaper deepens, so does the tension in the neighborhood as white neighbors, frustrated by their own dwindling fortunes, ignite a landmark court case that threatens the community's well-being with promises of retribution. That sounds good. I also like the cover. You know, they say don't judge a book by its cover, and then here are me doing just that. And that one comes out June 10th of this year. Next, we have Jamaica Road. This is by Lisa Smith. It says South London, 1981. Daphne is the only black girl in her class. All she wants is to keep her head down, preferably in a book. The easiest way to survive is to go unnoticed. Daphne's attempts at an invisibility are upended when a boy named Connie Small arrives from Jamaica. Connie is opposite of Small in every way, lanky, outgoing, unapologetically himself. Daphne tries to keep her distance, but Connie is magnetic, and they form an intense bond as they navigate growing up in a volatile, rapidly changing city. Their families become close, and their friendship begins to shift into something more complicated. When Connie reveals that he and his mother, Naland, meaning they're in England illegally, Daphne realizes that she is dangerously entangled in Connie's fragile home life. Soon, long buried secrets in both families threaten to tear them apart permanently. Spanning one tumultuous decade from the industrial docklands of the Thames to the sandy beaches of Calabash Bay, Jamaica Road is a deftly plotted, emotionally expansive debut novel about race, class, and the family you're born with and the family you choose, and the limits of what true love can really conquer. That sounds a little familiar to me. Like, not familiar, but it sounds like a show that I started watching last year and did not finish. I'm gonna have to do my Googles, but I will say I have been wanting to read more Caribbean literature. Excuse me. I tried a while ago and I just couldn't get into the flow of it. I feel like their stories are told a little bit differently, which is not a bad thing. I just wasn't ready to read it. But that may get me in the groove that I need to get in to do that. Next up, we have The Sable Cloak. This is by Gail Melissa Grant. I actually like how Melissa is spelled. It's Milissa. That I don't think I've seen that before. So it says, Jordan Sable, a prosperous undertaker turned political boss, has controlled the black vote in St. Louis for decades. Sarah, his equally formidable wife, runs the renowned funeral establishment that put the Sable name on the map. Together, they have pushed through obstacles in order to create a legacy for their children. When tragedy bursts their carefully constructed empire of dignity and safety, the family rallies around an unconventional solution, but at what cost? Set in the Midwest of the 1940s, The Sable Cloak is a rarely seen portrait of an upper middle class African-American family in the pre-civil rights era. This deeply personal novel, inspired by the author's own family history, delves into legacy and the stories we tell ourselves and celebrates a largely self-sustaining, culturally rich Missouri community that most Americans may not be aware of. I love it. Didn't I just say that? Like, historical fiction really will take us into a world that we maybe have never heard of before. And that one comes out February 4th. I'm really excited about that. Next, we have The Manual for Good Wives, a powerful and heartbreaking novel about love, family, and reclaiming Black British history. This is by Lola J. I feel like Lola J, like that name sounds familiar. I don't know why. I don't know why. Oh, because she wrote The Attic Child. That's why. And I have a copy of it sitting right here. I look at that book every day. So it says, to the world, Mrs. Copperfield is the epitome of Victorian propriety, an exemplary society woman who writes a weekly column advising young ladies on how to be better wives. Only Adeline has never been a good wife or mother. She has no claim to the Cobblefield name, nor is she an English lady. Now a Black woman born in Africa who dared to pretend to be something she was not is on trial in the English courts with all of London society baying for her blood, and she is ready to tell her story. Oh, that comes out February 20th. I need to know. What's the story? Why she pretending? What happened? What all happened? I need to know the things. I need to know the things. Oh, that's insane. And then last but certainly not least, we have These Heathens by Mia McKenzie. Mia McKenzie is also the author of... Hold the line, because y'all are going to know her other book. Skyfalling. I haven't read Skyfalling, but I recognize it. So this says, where do you get an abortion in 1960 Georgia, especially if your small town's midwife goes to the same church as your parents? For 17-year-old Doris Steele, Doris is such a Black name. Doris Steele, the answer is Atlanta, where her favorite teacher, Mrs. Lucas, calls upon her brash, wealthy childhood best friend, Sylvia, for help. While waiting to hear from the doctor who has agreed to do the procedure, Doris spends the weekend scandalized by, but drawn to, the people who move in and out of Sylvia's orbit. Celebrities whom Doris has seen in the pages of Jet and Ebony, civil rights leaders such as Coretta Scott King and Diane Nash, women who dance close together, boys who flirt too hard and talk too much, atheists. And even more shocking, Mrs. Lucas seems right at home. I love that. I like the representation, but also how close to today's climate that book is. Where do you get abortion in 1960? It's probably going to be the same place you get an abortion in 2025. Hopefully not, but you catch my drift. I'm very, very, very much interested in reading that. I think why books like that draw me in is because I want us to realize how we are not as far removed from our ancestors as we think we are. And I say that often, but I don't think people really understand the impact of my words when I say it, because we look at the fact that I'm able to record this on a camera and put it on the internet for you guys to see and to be able to have this dialogue with you, right? So we must be far removed from our elders and our ancestors. But 1960 wasn't that long ago. And the fact that what 1960s looks like is where our country is headed, we are not as far removed from them as we think we are. And we need to be learning our history, whether that be through historical fiction or whether it be through talking to the elders that we still have about what they experienced and how they feel. Whatever it is, we still need to be bridging those gaps. So without further ado, leave a, I don't know, what kind of emoji? A purple heart. Leave a purple heart. Let me know what books you plan to read from this list, if any, or you can tell me what is your favorite historical fiction. If no one told you today, I love you. You're kind. You're smart. You are important. If to no one else, to me. Bye, friend.